Hey everyone, this is Jonathan, and today I'll be trying something new, which is going through an endgame study. Uh, I've been thinking about doing some chess content outside of the interviews. I really enjoy the interviews, and I'm going to keep doing them for sure. But it's hard to predict when guests are available sometimes, and also it takes a lot of work to edit. So I wanted to try something that was a little bit shorter, a little bit more regular, hopefully still good quality and interesting, and maybe useful to the algorithm. So, why endgame studies? I think I first started doing studies when I heard that it was like one way of improving at chess. Since then, I've stopped trying to get better at chess. It just takes a lot of time and doesn't feel as worth it to me. Not to mention, it can be kind of stressful. But endgame studies are still great. Uh, I think it's a really nice way to test your calculation abilities, just exercising that muscle a little bit. Um, it's also, I mean, they're quite beautiful. I can't always appreciate a tactical or positional masterpiece, but the clever ideas in endgame studies are always nice. And yeah, I think when you solve a study, it's a little bit different than a puzzle because oftentimes in studies, you can use logical deduction, process of elimination, strategies like that, even if you don't have pattern recognition as a chess player. And so it's less binary than, okay, you got the puzzle or you didn't. There's a more of a chance that you can get at least partway through the study and feel like you're really engaging with it, even if you don't get the full answer. And I think this is a perfect example of that. It's not a very complicated position. There's not too much going on. Black has this F pawn that they're pushing, and white has kind of trapped black's pieces in the corner. So this is white to play and win. And the first move I considered was bishop c5 because it stops f2. The issue is black can take on g6. And now black has more freedom of movement. The king and rook can both move. This pawn can advance. And we went from maybe like a branch of possible variations to a forest. For the purpose of the study, what we're looking for is kind of a clean, elegant solution, pretty forcing, and this doesn't seem to be it. And it's actually not so easy to tell who's winning, losing, or drawing. I don't know exactly what to make of this position, but yeah, it didn't seem right. And so that's why I gave up on bishop c5 and went for g7 instead, because it kind of addresses that issue. Black's pieces are really locked in now. The only issue you have to deal with is how to address black's queen. So you have one move here before black queens. What are you going to do with it? So here's a good opportunity to pause and think about next steps. One idea I had was maybe doing some sort of checkmate because the black king is nearly cornered. So something like this where you're threatening bishop g7 checkmate. The issue is that black has the tempo and they can promote with check. And even if black's not winning here, at least they can guarantee a draw like this. And so the other way maybe of taking advantage of where black's king and rook are is getting this bishop around. And so we do have time to do that. So in this position, you're threatening mate in one. And black, even though they have the tempo and they have a queen, actually they can't go too many places with the queen. They can't throw in a check because these pawns are all in the way. And they have to take on f6 because otherwise we mate on the next move. Now, if we just recapture, this is stalemate. And our original plan of promoting is stopped by queen takes h8. So it feels like we've kind of hit a dead end. But if you go back to the starting position, it really doesn't feel like there's any other way to keep this position alive for white. This really feels like the only way to go. And yeah, especially if you're sure about g7 as the first move, once black is for sure going to promote, you kind of have to do this bishop maneuver. And then black has to capture. So following the good old Sherlock Holmes quote, once you've eliminated the impossible, whatever's left, however improbable, must be the truth. And so in this case, you can take a second and try to see, uh, is there a win for white here? And actually, you can take this. I mean, this is definitely stalemate. Any other move allows black to roam about with the queen. So you have to take here. If black captured with the king, then you capture the queen. So you capture with the queen. And here is the key move of the study, which is d4. And even though black has the move and black has the queen, there's actually only 3 legal moves for black, and they all lose the queen. Maybe the most tricky way is to go queen f6, king h8. Now if you play f7, that's stalemate. So you can move the king, you can push this pawn, give up a tempo, and now you have checkmate. So I think this is a super cool study for a couple reasons. One is, like I said, it really is very forcing. And even if you don't have grandmaster calculation skills, if you kind of just eliminate the options and then persist in this impossible moment, it's likely that you'll at least get partway through the solution, even if you don't see all the way to the end. And one more thing that's very nice is that every piece in this study has a purpose. There's no extraneous pieces. Like, they all get used some way. Like this piece, it couldn't be a bishop, it couldn't be a knight, it has to be a rook. These pawns all have to be exactly where they are. Even this pawn, it not only supports the e5 pawn, it also obstructs the queen from going to b5 and checking the king. So this study kind of uses the perfect amount and type of pieces to achieve it. You can try sending this to a chess friend. If they don't get it, you can give them one of white's moves, g7. If they don't get it after that, give them the next move. And if you can just keep going on and on until they hit that eureka moment. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be trying to post maybe twice a week. I don't know if that's too ambitious, but until next time.